Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. In today's video, I will be adding rhinestones to a sublimation design. To create the rhinestone template, I will be using Silhouette Studio Business Edition, but you can use Silhouette Studio Designer Edition or above. So let's get started. To complete this project, I used sublimation paper that I purchased from Amazon, Cricut heat tape that I purchased from Amazon. I used Hotfix rhinestones that I purchased from the baby's booty, and I used an edge brush that I purchased from Amazon. I used a 100% polyester Cricut brand t-shirt. I used rhinestone flock that I purchased from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and I used Hotfix rhinestone transfer tape that I purchased from Amazon. I will leave the link to all of these supplies in the description box below. To begin the project, you will need to find or create a design of your choice. For my design, I have chosen Minnie Mouse. And I chose Minnie Mouse because we're going to Disney for Thanksgiving. So I think this design would be perfect to wear while we're at the park. So I got my Minnie from Google. Then I added her name by using the font called Minnie. I downloaded this font from thefont.com. So let me know if you would like for me to do a video on how I downloaded the font. So first, I created my design and I sized it to my desired size for my shirt. And I am going to be using a large shirt. So I sized my design at 9.5 by 10.5. Next, I decided what portions of my design I'm going to add rhinestones to. So for this design, I have decided to add rhinestones to the bow, to the dress, and to the shoes. And I might add to the Minnie. I'm not 100% sure yet. But those are the pieces that I plan to add rhinestones to. So before we get started, I am going to duplicate this image just in case I mess up. So I'm going to duplicate it and put it off to the side over here just in case, you know, something happens and I mess up. So what we need to do in order to add rhinestones to these areas is that we need to open up our trace panel. And our trace panel will be the fifth icon on your right hand side. So we're going to open the trace panel, and as you can see, there are three types of trace options. You have trace, trace by color, and you have magnet trace. Since each section I want to add are different colors, I am going to use the trace by color option. And this option lets you select part of the images that you want to assign cut lines to or separate based on color. So let's select the second icon, which is the eyedropper, trace by color. And then we're going to select trace by color for your trace by color here. And then you want to take your dropper and drop it over into the area. So for us, we're going to drop it in the red for the bow. As you can see, the red area that I selected is highlighted with a yellow outline. So the next thing I'm going to do is on my trace preview, I'm going to make sure that solid fill is selected. And this will make sure that it's a solid fill and not a line. And then the next thing I'm going to do is my trace by color option. I'm going to select all areas. And what this does is it selects all the areas that is red. So to make sure that I pick up all of the color, I can adjust my tolerance if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave it at the default of 2. And then I can choose the trace style. So I just want to trace the outline of the items that is highlighted. So I'm going to select trace style. So then I will do the same thing for the shoes because I want to do the shoes. So I'll make sure I select trace by color, highlight the, select the shoes. And for the shoes, I want all of the shoe to be selected. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make sure I have solid fill. I want all the areas, and then I am going to move my tolerance up so that it can get all of the shoe, like so. So then once I have all of the shoes selected, I'm going to select trace. And so now I have traced the shoes. Next, since I'm not sure if I want to put mini and rhinestones, I'm going to trace it just in case I want to. And to trace the word mini would be different than tracing by color. So to trace the word mini, we're just going to do a regular trace. And that is click the first icon, trace. We're going to select our trace area. And I'm just going to select it here. And if you get too much, you can resize your trace area so that you just get the parts that you want. And then once the word is highlighted yellow, as you can see, here you can adjust your threshold and if you want to, but for this purpose, this tutorial, I'm not. So I'm just going to hit trace. And so it traced all of the letters to the word mini. Now that I have all of my areas that I want to add rhinestones to, I can move the image out of the way to reveal my trace areas. And remember that once you trace your areas, you cannot resize them, because if you resize them, they're not going to fit the size, they're not going to fit your sublimation design. So now, remember, don't resize your trace images. Okay? Now I want to separate my trace areas to make them easier to work with when I convert them to rhinestones and when I want to place them on my sublimation design. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the bow. And as you can see, this is the bow and the dress, and it's all one piece. Well, I don't want one piece. I want two pieces because that's going to make it easier for me to work with. And so to get two pieces, I'm going to select the trace area. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select release compound. This breaks the trace images into different pieces. And then to put it back together, I'm going to select the bow, because that's the pieces of the bow that I want. I'm going to select those pieces. Hold on. Let's just group it. I'm going to select the pieces of the bow, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to click make compound path. This will make all of the pieces of the bow one object. And then I'm going to turn it red so that we'll know that it's the bow. Turn it red and then put a no line on it. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing for the dress. I'm going to highlight. Move this out the way. I'm going to highlight the dress. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make it a compound path. I'm going to change the color to red and I'm going to go and put no outline. So now I have my dress. Now we have two pieces. So we have the dress and we have the bow. The next thing I want to do is I am going to select the shoes. And as you can see, the shoes are here, but there are a bunch of little tiny pieces up here that I don't want. And so in order to separate the shoe from those tiny pieces, I'm going to have my shoes selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to release the compound. Then I'm going to select just the shoes and I'm going to right click again and select make compound path. And now we have our shoes. And I'm going to make this yellow. And that represents her shoes. So now we have the shoes. We have all these little tiny pieces that are in here. We are going to delete those because we no longer need them. So we want to make sure that that's clear. Then I want to add rhinestones to the words. So on the words, there's this little tiny piece that's right here that don't belong with the word. It actually was off of her dress from when I traced it. So here I'm going to again make sure the word is selected, right click, right click, select release compound, and then I am going to unselect. I'm going to select that little tiny piece, delete it. I'm going to select all the letters of the word mini. I'm going to right click and I'm going to make it a compound path. And then I'm going to change it to black and with no outline. So now we have all of the pieces that we want to convert to rhinestones. Before I convert my design to rhinestones, I'm going to change the transparency on my mini. So let's move these off the mat for just 1 minute. We're going to move these off the mat because we don't need them right now. And I'm going to put my mini back on the mat, and I'm going to change the transparency of my mini so that when I start placing my rhinestones on top of it to make sure that it aligns perfectly, or not perfect, but close to perfect, that I can see it. So to change the transparency, you're going to go to your paint palette, which is your fill panel, and it's the third icon. You're going to select it, and then at the bottom, there is an option for transparency. You're going to move your transparency over to your desired transparency, and then that's going to make the sublimation image a little transparent so that when you put your items, your trace items back on your design, you can see where they line up. And then you can make sure that everything lines up the way that you want them to line up. Next, I will begin converting my trace images to rhinestone. To do that, I'm going to open up my rhinestone panel, and I am going to select her bow, and I am going to convert the bow to rhinestones. To do so, I'm going to select for her bow, I'm going to select the linear. I'm going to select 10SS, and I'm going to change my spacing to 35. And I am okay with that. I'm going to select her dress, and I am going to select radial. I'm going to select 10SS, and I'm going to change my spacing to 10. Now, what all of this means is that I have selected the radial fill. I'm going to use rhinestone size 10SS, and I'm changing my spacing to 10 so that there are more rhinestones in the dress, so that it kind of fills it out a little bit. And after I do the dress, I'm going to do the shoes. So I'm going to select her shoes. And I, again, am going to select the radial fill. I'm going to select the 10SS rhinestone. And I'm going to change my spacing to 15. Lastly, I will convert the word mini to a rhinestone template. So I'm going to select the word mini. And for mini, since it has, the bow is in a rhinestone fill, the dress is rhinestone fill, and her shoes is rhinestone fill, I think I'm going to do mini with a edge fill. So I'm going to select edge. I'm going to select 10SS. And I am going to put these rhinestones on the default of 0.39. I'm sorry, 0.039. And hit enter. Now that I've converted my trace images to rhinestones, I'm going to make some adjustments to her dress. I want to move some of the rhinestones so that they're not inside of the white circles that are on her dress. So to adjust the rhinestones on her dress, we are going to zoom in, and then we're going to select the rhinestones. Now we're going to select release rhinestones. And what this does is it makes all of the circles their own object. And so in order to adjust the rhinestones, you would simply just move the circles to where you want them. You can move them by using your mouse like this, or you can use your arrow key left or right, up or down, the way that you want them to move. For the sake of time, I am going to speed up this part while I adjust the rhinestones. So now that I'm finished making the adjustments, I'm going to make it a compound path again. So to do so, I'm going to move mini out of the way. I'm going to move the shoes out of the way, move the words out of the way, and I'm going to select all of the rhinestones for her dress. I'm going to right click and select make compound path. And then we have all the rhinestones back together again. So let's move it back, put mini back, move her dress back, move her shoes back. Ooh. Move her shoes back, move her dress back, put her words back. I keep moving her. Oh. Put her rhinestones back here. And so now I'm satisfied with the way that my mini looks. So the next thing we have to do is we have to save the rhinestone design as an SVG so that we can upload it into Cricut and get it cut. So to save it as an SVG, what we're going to do is we are going to move the sublimation design out of the way, and we're going to delete it. We're also going to delete this one, which was a duplicate that we made just in case we messed something up, and we did not. So we're going to delete this. We have our rhinestone template here. We're going to select everything, and we're going to group it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to select Save As. We're going to select Save to Hard Drive. And then we're going to name our file. We're going to name this file mini sub_rhinestone. We're going to change the Save As type to SVG, and then we're going to hit OK. To upload into Cricut, we will open Cricut. We will go to Upload, Upload Image. We will browse. We will locate the image where we saved it. And this is our SVG. We will select the SVG and then select Open. The template will upload as a cut image. You will select Upload. On your recent uploads, you will select your design and add to Canvas. Once the rhinestone design has been uploaded into Design Space, you want to make sure that the design is the size of your design from Silhouette Studio where you designed it. So, according to Silhouette Studio, our rhinestone template design is 7.569 inches in width, and it's 10.493 in height. And so we want to go over to Cricut and we want to lock the proportions first. Lock the proportions. And we're going to type in the width of 7.569 and hit enter. And then it should have changed to the proportion, but it did not. So we're going to unlock the proportion and we're going to change the height to 10.493 and hit enter. And so now we have our design in the correct size. And so now we can go to Make It. Make It in the upper right hand corner. We're going to select that. On this screen, since we will be cutting our flock on a mat, we're going to select on a mat and hit continue. Next, we are on this screen. So on this screen, it just shows you all of your mats based on the color of your rhinestone. So you have your word mini here. You have the dress and the bow here, and you have your shoes here. On this screen, we do not need to mirror our images because we will be using transfer tape. So there's nothing for us to do on this screen. So then we will, since there's nothing for us to do on this screen, we're going to select continue. Cricut. On this screen, I will select my material settings and cut my template. So for my material settings, I'm going to select Rhinestone Flock HTW Pink, which is a material setting that I created in order to cut rhinestone flock with my Cricut Explore Air 2 and my blade. If you want to know how I created this setting for my rhinestone flock, check out my video on how to create a rhinestone t-shirt. I'll leave the link in the description box below, and I'll leave the link at the end of the video. So now I will cut my flock, and I'll be back when I finish cutting my flock and brushing my stones in so that we can press our sublimation design and our rhinestones onto the t-shirt. Okay, so here we are at my heat press. I've already cut my rhinestone template and brushed my stones in and placed the rhinestones on the transfer tape. I've pre-pressed my shirt and I've lint rolled it. I have placed my sublimation design on my t-shirt, and I am going to press it for 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Okay, guys, don't be like me and forget to put the butcher paper on top. So hopefully I haven't messed up the top platen to my heat press. But as you can see the image through the sublimation paper. I did put the paper inside the shirt and on the bottom of my heat press. So we're going to let this cool off for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and lay the rhinestones on top of this design. The design has cooled off a little bit, so let's reveal our image and see what we have here. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna layer my rhinestones onto my sublimation design. I've let my heat press cool off, and so I am going to press each layer of rhinestones at 315 degrees for 12 seconds. So the first layer I'm going to lay down is the bow. So I'm going to lay the bow down, and I'm going to line it up so that it fits right on her bow. Then I'm going to put down the dress, because I can still put the dress down over here as well. So I'm going to put the dress down. Now I'm going to cut the dress a little bit so I can cut away some of the excess heat tape so I can try to get her shoes down as well, so I don't have to press so many times. So I'm going to put her dress down. Okay. And then, since I have a little room, I'm going to cut this corner off right here. Well, no, I'm just going to press her dress and her bow first. So let's press the first layer with the red rhinestones. I'm going to press that again at 315 for 10 seconds. Okay, so I have the red rhinestones on. Ooh, that's cute. Ooh, that's cute. Now I'm going to layer the yellow rhinestones for her shoes. I'm going to lay that down. Okay, let me try to get that a little lined up a little better. Okay, I'm good with that. And then I'm going to put the black rhinestones on as well, since I won't have any overlapping transfer tape. So So I'm going to put down the black rhinestones. Try to line that up as best as I can. Okay, so again, I'm trying to line it up so that it aligns with the image. I touched the rhinestone. Gotta be careful. Okay, that's good for me. It's my shirt, so I'm trying not to be anal and make it perfect. So again, we're gonna press this layer for 10 seconds. Okay, so we finished pressing our design, and I think it came out nice. All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you were able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.